This is what propaganda looks like. This is full-fledged propaganda, government-controlled propaganda.
With respect to the war in Gaza,
Thanks, I hate it.
Well, let's hear what she has to say.
President Biden and I are working around the clock.
Rumor is, by the way, we have
a
special guest joining us a little bit early. Is it true? Glenn Beck is...
done.
Oh, God, here he is. Glenn Beck, I'm sure, is thrilled with what we're seeing. Everything's going very well. He's up at the ranch in Idaho. Glenn, what are you taking from this so far?
I can't take it. I cannot take it. I have never heard more lies in my life. First of all, I thought everybody hated her. I thought she can't keep a single staff member. All of them have quit except for two. Because she's such a monster. Now she's just so lovely and gracious to everyone. Oh my gosh, I think I'm going to have an aneurysm. I don't know how to. I just don't know if America is this stupid. She is saying lie after lie after lie, and then she is sounding like Hugo Chavez. We're going to get people housing. We're going to make sure everybody has health care. This is Hugo Chavez. But you're not going to know that because nobody is ever going to say that.
Yeah, it's an interesting combination, Glenn, between like Chavez-esque generalities and when she does mention a policy, it's like Ronald Reagan. They want to lower tax cuts, more tax cuts. I mean, it's bizarre.
I know. And everything they're saying is what the Republicans actually believe in. And they're running like Republicans tonight. How many times did they mention Ronald Reagan? They mentioned him twice in a positive way.
Flags all over the place. They're talking about how much they love the military, how much they love police. I mean, it's bizarre.
She just said, because of my experience in law enforcement, you should know that I understand the importance of safety. Really? Tell me about that when you were bailing people out with BLM? Tell me how you are so strong on crime.
Glenn, take me, though, into the world in which you don't know anything. You don't read, you don't listen, you don't know this stuff. You're just a normal viewer.
This is why it's so frustrating. If I'm a know-nothing, I vote for her.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I vote for her. Now, she is great on prompter, but she's a moron off prompter. You know what I mean? Barack Obama could do prompter really well, but he also could just speak off the top of his head really, really well. She cannot. But will she have to speak to people?
I love our country with all
she basically had 100 days to go.
I love my country with all my heart.
I know.
Oh, my gosh.
She basically had a 100-day campaign here, and she has now made it through essentially a third of that without having to answer one question or really reveal one policy.
Question. No interviews. No interviews that she's had to do.
She's going to get one set up by the end of the month, Glenn.
That is America. I see an America where
I will say, from the sort of basic blocking and tackling perspective, though, this is such an improvement over Joe Biden. They're not even looking at her versus Donald Trump. They're looking at her versus Joe Biden. She's so much better than he is. That's where this energy is coming from, I think. What do you think, Glenn?
Is out of reach.
I think that's where the energy in the room is, because she's hitting it out of the park tonight.
For one another.
If you are a low information voter, or you're just, part of the cabal, and you're like, yeah, go girl. But if you respect truth and you're informed, you are beyond blood boiling right now. You're just, you're incensed. Because no one will say anything except she was fabulous. She was great. They won't talk about the things. The thing she said about Donald Trump is it was remarkable.
My mother
remarkable. Demonstratedly false.
Never let
and we're going to be told that's joy. That's actually joy. Even though they were the most negative things you could basically say about another human being. That's the joyful way to do it.
Yeah. And did you notice that they are they're really riding on defense?
Yeah.
She sounds like John McCain.
Yeah.
You know?
It's defense, it's police,
do you
it's
really
tax
think
cuts.
Yeah. And with war, they are cheering for war with Ukraine.
Endless possibilities.
Freedom and opportunity economy, Glenn. I mean, these are Milton Friedman type concepts if you just listen to them. But they don't mean them.
She is a chameleon. I could give 95% of this speech.
And all those who sacrificed
except about the one about ending children's lives. Probably wouldn't give that part.
Freedom and liberty.
Liberty.
We must be worthy of this moment. It is now
this is a performance, right? It's not
to do what generations
This is one of the greatest performances I have seen in politics.
By optimism.
I mean, considering where she came from, it's hard to disagree with that.
For this country we love.
Coming from like a Biden, she's hated, everyone's leaking negative items about her. To this.
6 weeks ago, this woman did not exist.
Right. They were talking about replacing her on the ticket.
The greatest.
Yes. Because she was so disliked by the Democrats, so disliked. They said, if Joe doesn't run, you can't run her because she's a nightmare. But she has stepped up to the plate on this one.
Let's get out there. Let's vote for it. And together,
this is the end,
let us write the next great chapter in the most extraordinary
that's how you know it's a performance. We can tell it's coming. Never told. Thank you. Good night.
Bless you, and may God bless
so
the
she
United
is.
States
all right, that's it.
They have made her into a warrior, an angel, a saint, a huge patriot that just loves this country, loves everything about it, and believes in the freedom of the individual. She sounded tonight like, first of all, she sounded like the, normie out there, the person who's just like sick of it. And this is the problem. And I don't know how Donald Trump is going to come get around this. The problem is when she's on script, she's very convincing, and people want a new way. They wanted a third candidate. Well, you've got a third candidate now.
Yeah.
And all of the people in the DNC know exactly who she is. So she doesn't have to tell them, I'm a socialist. They know. They know because her vice president is also a socialist. So what they had to do tonight was convince the person who's just saying, I'm just so sick and tired of all of this. And I don't know who she is. I don't know. Donald Trump, I know who he is. And I know people have said bad things about her, but let me just tune in and see who she is. They tune in and they see that. And the Reagan Democrat votes for her.
Gosh, I mean, that is a terrifying concept, honestly. Because, and with only a few weeks to dismantle these lies, what do? You know Donald Trump, Glenn. Yeah. You've known him for years. Does he have a gear that is capable of disassembling something like that?
I would never count him out. I would never, ever count him out. He is very, very good at what he does. But this one is threading a needle that is going to be very difficult because you cannot come swinging at her. After tonight's speech, you can't come swinging at her. He has to deal with her the way he dealt with Joe Biden in the last debate. He has to hope that in the debates, without a script, without a prompter, she talks herself into circles. And so you're looking for her to fail. That's not a good position to be in. But I don't know how you take her apart, especially after this, for the uninformed, the low information voter, and for the average person who just, this was a show.
Yeah.
Did you notice how this was a show? I thought I was watching the Olympics. For a while I was watching NBC's coverage. Oh my gosh. It was like the Macy's Day Parade. It was coverage where they weren't talking over the speakers. They weren't. They were deferential. They were like, "This is so exciting. This is. Oh, wait a minute. Coming up in just a minute is going to be this person, and this is going to be excited." And then they played the whole Kamala thing. It was a completely different production than it was for the RNC. And the RNC was very, very good. But at least there was pushback on there you would expect from journalists. There was no pushback here. This was, come on into the tent. I've got some great stuff for you to buy. It was, this is what propaganda looks like. This is full-fledged propaganda, government-controlled propaganda. The media is absolutely in there. I mean, I'm telling you, if we don't win, if we don't get every single person that sits in a pew and gets them to, you get them out to vote, and you're voting for actual freedom. When she was taking on the Supreme Court, saying a Donald Trump unleashed. Well, first of all, if that were true, which it's not, but if that were true, you're unleashed as well. But it's not true. That's not what the Supreme Court said. When she said that Donald Trump was going to ban all forms of abortion and he's going to take women by the vagina and split them in half. Are you crazy?
Wonderful imagery.
He said the opposite of all of that. And it doesn't matter because this was a show. This was a show and a very good one.
A very good one. And we know that they have the machine behind them, right? They have that sort of, they've got the celebrities, they've got the production people, they've got that sort of entertainment business locked up.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they showed it, at least today. I don't know the whole, I mean, certainly the first night was not like this, but they have flexed those muscles quite a bit.
Well, they did tonight. Tonight, it was an absolute production of brilliance. The people they put on stage, the way they handled things. If you are a low information and you just tuned in today, this was aimed directly to the Reagan Democrat, the person that is middle of the road. I'd like to remind the moms of America that when she says we're never going back, she means that. So do you remember the time where you didn't have to worry about your kindergarten kids being taught that they could be a boy or a girl or a donkey or a goat? Well, we're never going back. Do you remember the time when you didn't have to worry about your kids having drag queen story hour? Well, we're never going back. You have to understand what she said and what she meant by that. That was language that you think means, well, we're not going to go back to corruption and we're not going to go back to divisiveness and all of that. Joe Biden is going to bring normalcy back. She's saying, I'm going to bring normalcy back. I'm going to bring all the good sunshine and flowers and lollipops. And she's saying we're never going back. You want to go back to when the world made sense, okay? We don't have to go back to everything in the past, but we need some things like no drag queen story hours for our children. no just out of control spending and sending billions of dollars, more money than we spent on the rebuilding of Europe for the Marshall Plan, we have sent over to Ukraine. And here she is cheering for war in Ukraine, that we're going to be tough. How? With what? Why is this our fight? Tell me how this is in our best interest to do that. We're never going back. That is the key phrase from this whole thing tonight. We're never going back, because they said it through multiple people tonight. We're never going back. You know what that means. The America that you knew is over. And if she gets in, we will never go back. This is the last chance, America. Your very last chance.
Glenn, I will let you go. Let me do one more, though, before I let you go. Is this the peak? Kamala probably feels really good right now. The Democrats feel really good right now. They just had a big party. There was no questions against them. They've had this big rise. But is this the little boomlet coming to an end? And are we going to look back at this and say, this was the peak of Kamala, and thank God it didn't actually happen?
So it depends on the press. It depends on, can anyone get her to sit down and have to actually speak without a teleprompter? She is a well-educated woman. I'm guessing she has a pretty good memory, so she can memorize a lot of stuff that she needs for the debates. But if the debate goes poorly, it will start to shake apart. If the press doesn't get real interviews from her, or doesn't ask for real interviews because things are going so peachy, just leave it alone. If she's allowed to continue this show, the numbers stay in her favor. It will be close, but the numbers, I think, will stay in her favor. The minute she opens her mouth and starts actually saying what she thinks, it's over.
Glenn Beck, of course, going to be live tomorrow morning on the Glenn Beck radio program right here as part of your BlazeTV subscription. Make sure you check that out tomorrow. I have a feeling you're going to be a little fired up tomorrow, Glenn. And
oh, my gosh.
I'm excited for it.
I have so many Hail Marys and Our Fathers, I have to say, because WTF came out of my mouth. I can't tell you how many times.
Mm-hmm. Well, if you were on this program tonight, you probably just would have said it. Yeah. Okay, Glenn Beck, thanks so much, man. We'll see you in the morning. Bye.